Welcome to Wonderful Beauty, your new K-pop haven.
We're Ann and TJ, just your friendly second and third generation Hyung and Nuna, here to discuss random K-pop related topics.
With over 2 decades of friendship between us, we're inviting you on a nostalgic journey through the evolution of K-pop, from the iconic groups of the past to the hottest stars of today. We share our unfiltered opinions, hilarious anecdotes, and insider knowledge.
So grab your favorite snacks, hit play, and let's dive into the world of K-pop together.
All right. So, as we mentioned before, we've been friends for 20 years. So we decided for our 20th year of friendship together, let's make a huge celebration out of it.
Totally, yeah. So we decided, we decided this last year that we were going to go go to Kcon this year.
Woo!
I remember it was last year because it was when Bang Chan was announced as an MC and Shonu and Youngwon were performing, and I was like, why? Why can I not be there to see Shonu?
Right, exactly. That's pretty much the the driving force of this.
Yeah. It was a pretty cool thing. It took us. We didn't actually start planning until about 4 or 5 months ago. Which for our listeners, Anne is a type A planner down to the everything. If I could show you the spreadsheets, I would.
Oh yeah. I think the worst one though. I mean the spreadsheet we have for just our trip to LA in general compared to my wedding planning spreadsheet, does not even compare. I would say the LA trip spreadsheet is like the simplest form I can ever put.
Right.
So to celebrate our 20 years, went to LA. Very lucky to have in-laws that live there, so easier to stay, don't have to pay for nothing, just buy the flight tickets, rent a car, of course, since they live out in the Huntington Beach area, and Kcon's over in the Los Angeles Convention Center right next to the Crypto.com arena, so definitely had to rent a car. But let's talk about our first Kcon experience. And I do want to point out, this is our first Kcon experience. We don't know what's like the years before, how it's like organization, how it was before compared to, this year. But I mean, Kcon's been around since like 2012, so they're the main thing.
Yeah. Well, not so much anymore because now we have Waterbomb LA coming, so we'll see how that rivalry stacks up.
Yeah, definitely. It's a huge bomb, literally. Like, it's a big bomb drop for LA of all places.
Right. So as you kind of mentioned in our debut episode, Kcon is really kind of what replaced the Korean Music Festival that was in LA.
Oh yeah, definitely. And again, this is probably also a testament of how big Kcon, or just K-pop in general, has grown. Because for the Korean Music Festival, it's not just K-pop. That was the main thing why a lot of like young people would go to it. But you'll also see like the older fans there. But that's because they had trot singers, they have older like hip hop groups, that sort of thing, that most of the younger fans at the time probably would not know anything about it. And I think Kcon does great in where internationally they can have fans of all ages who just love K-pop in general without having to listen to trot music, because it's sad to say, but trot is so out of date now. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, of course, with any kind of trip, there's always our planning stage, especially when you go on a trip with me or Ann. We're not, let's vibe, let's see how it goes, let's play by ear. No, we both have travel anxiety and we need things to be on the table, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what also kind of made it this way was because I had my kid with me. It was summertime. This is pretty much the only trip that they'll have that's like an actual quote unquote vacation. On top of that, just visiting in-laws, that's TJ can say this wholeheartedly, but I pretty much put in every family group chat there, like, hey, me and my friend are coming in, plus the kid. If you want to see us,
Right.
just swing by the aunt's house.
Yeah. Um, so I think we can both agree that we struggled with the pre-planning this time, unlike our previous trips, like Disney World and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
And
It has
the
to do with the
lineup,
ticket sales. Yeah.
yeah, the ticket sales and the lineup. So we both kind of agreed that this year was very weak compared to what we were expecting.
Yeah, if you were to compare what the previous years, lots and lots of big names. They got what, ATs, they got Stray Kids. So, the expectation was kind of high, honestly.
It also didn't help that before we got KCON, Hong Kong got KCON, and we were super excited for who
Hmm.
they got.
Oh yeah.
Um, so just for our listeners, so they kind of know what we got versus other countries.
Hmm.
Of course, we had P1 Harmony and Hyphen,
Hmm.
Somi, uh, God. Is it God or is it God?
God.
Oh, God. Pardon me.
Hmm.
Um, but we also had some legendary performers. That's our term. Nobody else uses that term. Us. But
Hmm.
there was Taemin, Hoylan, Zyko, NCT 127. And we have to
Hmm.
give a shout out to poor Ace because KCON forgot about them. We know that
Oh
you were there,
yeah.
Ace, even though we didn't see you.
It's okay. We know you're there.
Um, so Hong Kong got ATs, Day 6, Highlight, The
Mhm.
Viz, Sistar 19, Aspa, and then the upcoming Germany has Dreamcatcher, Kiss of Life, The Boys, Key, uh, ONF, and Rise. So seeing Hong Kong in the past ones, we were like, holy cow, like we'll get to see Stray Kids, ATs, and I know for you, the big thing was Highlight. No matter what day we were going to,
Oh
Highlight was the
yeah.
day we were going to go.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But there was also one thing that we didn't consider at the time when we were pre-planning, right? All these
Right.
groups were announcing their tours at the
Yeah.
same time. So what? The Boys was currently on tour. Literally the day we landed, they were in LA. And then
Uh,
after Coachella, ATEEZ announced their world tour as well.
yeah, ATs were in Arizona the day that we landed.
Mm-hmm.
And they were actually in our hometown where you still live of Arlington. I think the day we went to go see KCON. I think actually.
No, it was the Sunday after, but I mean, they were in town. They were in town.
Right. Um,
Yeah, and then on top of that, we knew that 17 would not be at KCON because that would be around the same time that Carrotland, their fan meeting, would be happening too. So again, that's off the table. So all these big names, you're just like, oh, well, I guess this is what we got.
yeah. Um, at one point, we considered not even doing KCON just because of the lineup. We were like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this isn't the greatest. Let's go see the boys instead. Which
Mm-hmm.
we were both like, I'm a boys stan. I won't say I'm a Du Bois. And I
Mm-hmm.
know, and like one song. So it was going to be one of those things of like, oh, cool. It's kind of like a blind thing.
Yeah,
Well, then we
definitely.
found out that the boys didn't start their show until 8:30 LA time. We're from Texas, guys. If you didn't catch
Mm-mm.
that on any of our episodes so far, we're both from Texas.
Uh-huh.
Um, we're 2 hours ahead of LA. We
Yeah.
flew out, got up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning to fly out to LA. There was no way in hell we were going to start
Mm-mm.
a concert at 10:30 Texas time.
Yeah, we old. We
We
love our
old.
sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like, do we really want to stay up late for the boys, or should we just go for it? Because when it comes down to it, this is KCON. This is if it's potentially could be a once in a lifetime experience.
Right. We did kind of struggle back and forth. Like,
Mm-hmm.
did we want to do convention only? Did we want to do the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing? Well, KCON decided for us that there is no convention only this year. Um,
Yeah.
and granted, we got the ticket information before we even got the lineup, which made things more difficult. But we put everything into two factors. One, which host did we want to see?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was Rawoon, and I know for
Mm-hmm.
you it was Kim Soo Hyun,
Yep.
the legendary K drama actor. And then
Oh
we
yeah.
also decided we're deciding between legendary performers, Taemin or Hoyland. Um, I told Anne, I said, I'm not going to decide. I want you to decide. Take the kid into consideration because the only person that I want to see is Rawoon. So please do not take me into consideration whatsoever. I want you and the kiddo to decide which day we're going to do.
Yeah, and I think what also helped too was that technically I have seen Hyorin in the past when she was in Sistar, when Sistar was still a thing at the Korean Music Festival in 2011 or 12. Forgot which one it was. Maybe even earlier, probably 10. But yeah, so I was like, well, I've already seen her. I do love her solos, but I mean, just seeing her with Sistar was pretty much the peak of it. So I was like, well, I'm
Right.
fine with not seeing her. Um, and I mean, I would love to see Kim Soo Hyun, but I mean, when it comes to my kid, they love P1 Harmony. They're starting to like Boys Next Door, and when Kcon kind of announced saying that Zero Base One would be like their special guest for day one, it kind of locked it in, honestly. And the biggest perk is for TJ to see Rorun, honestly.
Yeah.
So it helped
Because
a lot because being a older fan and getting all these opportunities and kind of being quote unquote ahead of the game from TJ, I already got my fill of K-pop experiences. So just to give TJ, his opportunity of seeing one of his like main biases, might as well.
yeah, because I was unfortunate that I was not able to see SF9 when they toured.
That's right.
Which, if I remember correctly, Rawoon was not able to participate because he was filming tomorrow. And then, of
Okay.
course, it was announced in September of last year that he would be leaving the group to focus on acting. So this was really probably my one opportunity, but I didn't want that to be a deciding factor. Now, I do love that my best friend of 20 years was like, no, heifer, it's going to be a deciding factor.
Here you go.
I will say that even after everything was set and we started to plan things, a big thing that kind of irritated both you and I is
Mm-hmm.
that there were a lot of last minute additions to each day.
Yeah, I did not like the fact. If only my husband was here, he can tell you how loudly I screamed about this. But when they announced Tiger JK, you mean like the father of hip hop? Oh man, I was, I was ready to go. I was ready to fight someone.
Yeah, and then they announced Park Min Young as a special guest on day two,
Mm-hmm.
which she's my favorite K drama actress outside of Park Shin Hye.
Mm-hmm.
Because my favorite K drama for all of you who are listening is What's Wrong with Secretary Kim.
Classic.
Uh, and we also, both of us, ironically, had just started watching Marry My Husband
Oh yeah.
the week they announced that she was going to be there. And I remember you messaging me at work and being like, I'm going to find out if I could sell our tickets. I'm going to get a stay too. Are you okay with that? And I was like, whatever you want to do. But it ended
You're
up
like,
being
I'm
too
just
much
here for the
work and you tapped
ride.
out. Yeah, it ended up being too much work and you tapped out. And
Yeah,
then
no, it
even
definitely was.
though she's not a K-pop person, we were both kind of irritated that we weren't going to get to see Aquafina of all people on day 3.
I know. It's like, where else are you gonna see Aquafina? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Right.
so
Like
random.
I loved her in Crazy Rich Asians. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, I mean, she's a great actress in general. She's very well rounded. But again, I'm pretty sure KCON announced Aquafina was only because they were announcing that day 3 will be filmed for the CW channel to be aired.
Yeah.
So I mean, which is a great thing for them. KCON, I mean, just K-pop in general has gotten so much bigger that KCON's able to air this on CW. That's a pretty big step.
Right.
Yeah.
Um so we finally got the pre-planning down after some issues.
Mm-hmm.
Everything worked out great in the end. But let's actually take our listeners over to the actual convention itself, not M Countdown. We'll get on to that in just a second.
Yeah.
Um, so this is one of the best conventions I've ever attended. I'm not a big fan of anime or Comic Cons. As Anne knows, I actually suffer from a hearing disability in my right ear. And since I only have one ear that fully functions, when I'm around a whole bunch of noise, it gets a little anxiety inducing
Mm-hmm.
because I can't tell what to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little overstimulating. And if I get lost from my group, the chances of being able to find them is pretty slim to none, unless there's cell phone reception.
Yeah, which is kind of hard, especially when you're like in a huge crowd of people, like there's thousands of people. I've been to plenty of anime conventions, a few like fan expo, that's kind of like Comic Con esque type
Right.
things. Always super crowded. Especially when I guess the biggest anime convention here in the DFW area would be Kcon and Anime Fest. There are times when they book venues or just convention centers in general. It's not that great of a setup. It's always crowded. There's not really a good flow of traffic. Like, don't try to make a flow of traffic, but there's always like, a group that goes against it, or you're just standing in the
Right.
middle of the hallway. Yeah, so never like that. But I mean, for the convention part for KCON, it was super organized. I mean, there's a good crowd, obviously, but I want to say everyone's super respectful in terms of flow of traffic. And the lines for all the booths were very organized. There's always a worker there that's like, oh, hey, can you move the line over to this way so it's out of the way? You're not standing in the middle of like the quote unquote road, hug the wall, that sort of thing. So, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised line wise, honestly.
I think a good example of what you're saying was the Milkus booth, which we didn't get to
Mm-hmm.
go to because the line was so long. But there,
Oh, so
that
long.
curved around
Yes.
the booth, and there was somebody there that literally had a sign, a little, almost fan picket looking
Mm-hmm.
thing
Yeah.
that literally said "Milkus line, please continue here."
Yeah, pretty much, which is so helpful. I mean, I don't see many conventions doing that, honestly. So it was super helpful. Signs for every booth was pretty clear. You can kind of see where the line was going. They also had those like line dividers too, which helps, get the group get the people
Right.
in, in a more organized way, honestly, and out of the way from people just walking around and enjoying the convention.
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't anything like an artist alley, which you would see at typical Comic Cons. Everything here was
Right.
sponsored as an actual
Yes.
shop. Um, but a lot of the booths were like mini shops almost. Like there's so much space to walk around on both the left and the right.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one that I remember the best was, I think it was Music Plaza. And they had a large rectangular shape versus a lot of just the square shapes. And you literally walked in and you could see all the photo cards. They had the boy group photo cards on the right, girl
Mm-hmm.
groups on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had their albums out front, the first thing you see when you walk in. And so it was really cool because we were able to walk by. They had everything separated by group. I grabbed the Johan and Wambu album because I was missing it for my 17 collection.
Mm-hmm.
Went in and was able to look at all the Daikon photo cards, the lucky draws, things like that, without really bumping into the girls who were coming the opposite direction.
Yeah, flow of traffic was super great. And then once you like hit the end of that booth, cash register was right there, and you just exit and be on your merry way. So I mean, it was really smart. And and the shopkeeper for that booth, she was there too to make sure everyone was going well, no one's pushing or anything like that either. So super
I
helpful.
honestly think I only had a slight problem at one of the other booths. It was just a photo card booth, and it was just some girls who like pushed forward in front of me. But you're going to get that at any kind of event that you go to.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Especially when girls in general see something they love, they're gonna make their way through.
Yeah. uh, but it was really cool because everything was separated. Like there was the K beauty, the K fashion. Um, they had a home goods section, which was something I was not expecting to see.
Yeah, I saw something for pets, and I was like, okay, they're really going all out on this.
Yeah, like I mean, you go to something called Kcon, and you're expecting Sheen, Olive
Mm-hmm.
Young,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But they had places for airlines,
Mm-hmm.
um, like you said, the dog costumes and grooming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and it was kind of cool. Like we didn't visit a lot of those booths, but it was like, wow, that's not something you would see at A Fest or San Japan or something like that.
Yeah, so anime conventions, literally just anime stuff. You rarely will see anything that has to do with Japanese culture as a whole. So what's cool about KCON is that it's Korean culture as a whole, and whatever companies that kind of bridge that gap together for international fans, with the airlines, beauty, that sort of thing. They even have a booth for like the webtoons. That
I wouldn't even say it was a booth; it was more of like an exhibit.
Yeah, which was really cool because they kind of divide up to 3 or 4 different webtoons. They have the lookism one, which I was really drawn to only because that's what my husband loves. He and I showed it to him. He was like, "There's a lookism booth." I was like, "It's not really like a booth, but you can go in and check it out, take a selfie with like the cardboard cutouts, that sort of
Yeah.
thing." So it was really cool, very interactive. And on top of that, you have idols going to these booths as well. I know there was a lot of meet and greets in the Samsung one.
Yeah. I think every single performer and maybe the host ended up at that Samsung booth at some point because they were
Mhm.
showing off the new AI features with the new flip and fold.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, when we first entered to the convention area, Kepler was there, ready to go. And we're like,
Yeah.
"Oh crap, there's Kepler." That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And for our listeners who weren't able to attend, just to give you kind of a visual idea, this is not just a whole bunch of booths like you would see at a normal con. This was
Mhm.
actually sharing the same space with the meet and greet stage because when we were there, I believe Alexa was interviewing Craxy.
Mhm.
They had kind of an M countdown stage where they would talk to the groups, but they'd also do fun little games and missions.
Mhm.
Um, and something that I thought was really cool is that they had in the middle of it were all these exhibits for these
Oh
artists.
yeah, I love the exhibit part.
There was the light stick wall that had every single light stick that each performer had,
Mhm.
um, albums, outfits that they've worn to things.
Oh yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah, you get to see a variety of things all at once. Like even if you don't see, like in Hyphen, because they perform on day two, at least we got to see some of their like merch type of deal, which is really cool. But I think the one that I absolutely love, and TJ loves this too, is that huge wall that where fans can leave notes on there. It's like a big blackboard and they have those like paint markers. And there's like even post-it notes too. If there's like no space or whatever, you just kind of stack on top. But everyone was writing messages on there. It was really lovely to see.
Yeah, and people were determined to get their message on there. I think I saw one guy lift his girlfriend up on his shoulders so she could write up at the top.
Yeah, I know. I did see a clip I Instagram, I believe, that Kcon posted later on. There was this girl on literally like jumping while she was writing it. I was like, okay, that's commitment right there.
Something that you got to experience, I didn't. For our listeners, I was actually incredibly sick while we were at KCON. Uh,
Mm,
Nothing like Corona or anything like that. I'm just very susceptible to climate changes. And if you've never been to Texas, we're what I would call a wet desert.
yep.
Um, it's super hot, but it's also super humid. And
Oh
then we
yeah.
go over to California, where the hottest day was 82 the day we landed, and it was 73 the rest of the week. So I was suffering a little bit. So I had to tag out towards the end. Um, but you and the kiddo decided to go hit the boost that we hadn't hit yet. And you had mentioned that they were actually already starting to cut people off.
Yeah, but not in a bad way, obviously. So this is towards the end where the concert would have started in about an hour and a half, maybe an hour. But the convention center and the crypto.com arena were right next to each other, so it's obviously walkable within like 5 minutes, maybe even less. But yeah, so while TJ sat out just to rest a little bit, rehydrate, all that stuff, me and the kid, we went back in because I was like, I really want to go to the Shin booth. I really want that free top loader. I want that keychain. So we went back to the booth and the line was shorter. I mean, still very long because I'm sure it takes a while for girls to figure out what they want to get. But when we went to the end of the line, the staff member was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we had to cut it off because we wanted to make sure everyone gets to the concert on time." I was like, "Okay, yeah, understandable. That's cool." So we went to I think we tried to do the Milkus. They did the same thing too. Um, Olive Young was still open, but that was because theirs was very quick. They were just literally handing out free samples still, the totes and all these other things. But I think it was very smart for staff members to cut off the line just so everyone can get over to the concert in time because of like the pre-show and everything, which I think is very thoughtful, honestly, because some people don't want to go to the pre-show because it's probably like not that big of a group, no one they'll be interested in, like that's not the reason why they're there to begin with for Kcon. So I thought it was very sweet, super organized, of course. And I mean, in general, the staff is amazing. We
Oh,
give all the
100%.
praises to we give all the praises to the staff. They were so sweet, so nice, so helpful. Like they don't have to be helpful, but they were super helpful.
It and we're not 100% sure if these were people who were employed or if they were
Mm-hmm.
volunteers, because usually when you go to like Akon or San Japan, a lot of the people that you're going to meet there are going to be volunteers just to get a free pass.
Yeah.
But these people were so professional,
Oh
and
yeah.
anytime we approached someone to ask them, biggest smile on their face. They were so happy to help us.
Oh yeah, super sweet. And even if we don't say anything, like we're just literally looking around, trying to figure out where we're going, when the security will be like, "Oh hey, are you looking a place to check in?" We're like, "Yeah, we're trying to check in." They're like, "Great, go down the stairs. It's right down this hallway. You make a left," and we're like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah, it was really neat. The staff, you'll probably get a couple of shout outs as we keep talking because that's how amazing you guys were.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Shout out to the staff. They were super sweet, super helpful. Also shout out to just KCON staff in general, especially at that merch booth, their own personal merch booth. They were so, so sweet. Again, the line for that is long because everyone wants to get the merch, especially if you don't have the VIP pass, I believe, or something like a fast
The
pass
Express
type thing.
Pass.
The
Yeah.
express pass, yeah. So obviously that line's moving a lot more faster, and the general line is moving a little bit slower. But no matter how long that line was, all these staff members have the biggest smile on their face. They're fangirling with everyone, fanboying with everyone. It was super sweet. And the girl we had when we got our merch, she was just like so chipper, super happy. And she did the sweetest thing for my kid. So we got the like the artist merch. So when you get the artist merch, you're able to get like a photo card of, whatever group that you choose from. And so my kid got something from P1 Harmony. It was their slogan. And then the girl was like, "Okay, so do you want like a P1 Harmony photo card?" And then my kid was like, "Oh yes, I would love one." And then he looked at it, and it was like, like those mixed up already in the stack, that sort of thing. And you're like, "Oh, I hope I get my bias." And the girl was like, "Well, who's your bias?" And I think it's John Sub or something like that. And then the girl was like flipping through. "Here you go, I found one for you." And then the kid was like, "Oh my god." It was super sweet. She didn't really have to do that. She could just literally be like, "Ha, good luck. I hope you get your bias." No, too bad. Move on, But that was super sweet.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience. We didn't have the same girl, but as mentioned earlier, I was literally there for Rawoon. That's the
Yeah.
only reason I was there. And
Yeah.
so I got his slogan sign. Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
his keychain was already sold out.
Mm.
And I got the jersey that we're wearing because you
Yeah.
go to a concert, you got to get something like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And she goes, "Okay, so here are all of our photo cards. Who would you like?" And I like that you get an option. So even though I bought Wawoon, I could have got a Taman card. I could have tried for Stacy for my friend who didn't get to join. I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I want a Wawoon." And she lit up so much. This is how I know this girl was a fantasy, just like me. She was like, "Oh my God, yay, Wawoon, absolutely." And she was like, she dug through and she goes, "Here, I hope you really enjoy it."
Oh.
Um, and it was super cool because, again, we've been to anime conventions, we've been to Comic Cons, and these
Mm-hmm.
poor people have the doors opened at 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
So those poor people have probably been there since 5 or 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And they were super cheerful the entire time.
I know. It was just, it's just a K-pop community of fans getting together and just enjoying each other, talking about their biases, their favorite group, that sort of thing. I mean, the energy for that is high and so inviting too, It makes everyone feel so loved and, heard.
Yeah. So for those people who may be considering going next year, the things that you're probably worried about is the pricing.
Yeah.
Let us tell you, everything is so reasonably priced at Kcon.
Yeah, which is honestly surprising. But I mean, most of the sponsor booths, you're gonna get things for free. So like what was this? So like Milkis, we don't know what they're giving out, probably like a free drink. But the ramen one we went to, they were giving out free ramen packs like it's nobody's business.
Yeah, all you had to do was play a little cut flip game, and it was super easy. You got 3 chances, and
Yeah.
if you failed, they let you keep going.
Yeah, I know, right? You're like, let's keep going. Come on, we gotta get this ramen out of here.
Yeah, and then you got to go pick a number out, and that chose what you got. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like, we ended up with free stickers, a bag,
Mm-hmm.
and ramen, literally just for following them on Instagram and
Mm-hmm.
playing the Easy Cup game.
Yeah, and they don't just give you one pack of ramen; they give you two. And I was just like,
Yeah.
y'all are generous.
Oh yeah. And I think we got to choose a ramen. I'm not 100% sure, but let me just tell
Mm-hmm.
you, Paldo, don't get mad at me, but I have not tried the volcano chicken flavored ramen yet.
I'm scared.
I will. I just haven't done it yet. I'll probably wait until another Saturday when Ann and I are off, and she can watch and laugh at me while I do it.
Yeah, so I gave mine away. I own a restaurant, and I left my restaurant behind to my husband and it survived, thankfully. But so the one thing about my chefs is that they can handle their spice really, really well. And I always see them for breakfast. They just eat ramen packets. You know, they make it their own, all these things, they add the flavoring, whatever. But they can handle their spice. So because we got that volcano chicken ramen, I was like, well, I absolutely am not gonna eat it. I'll just give it to my chefs. Yeah, they said it was pretty hot. I was just like, okay, glad y'all enjoy it.
um, there were also a lot of other freebies. Mnet, who sponsored everything,
Of course.
they gave out these really huge tote bags
Oh
that were
yeah.
bright pink and zero
Mm-hmm.
base one stickers, and all you had to do was they called it a scavenger hunt, but you just walked
Mm-hmm.
around the booth and you followed them. You took a picture of their logo and you wrote a message to anybody that was there, and they
Yeah.
had this streamer wall, and you literally tied it to it. It's like what you would see in animes or K dramas, the wish trees.
Oh
It's
yeah.
kind of what it
Mm-hmm.
reminded me of.
Yeah, it was
Um,
really cool.
I think you got to go to Asiana Airlines, and you got to do a free raffle to get a free prize.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's because you have to follow them on Instagram, or most of these booths are sponsored. You have to either follow them on Instagram or any social media, sign up for emails, or you just have to like download their app, that sort of thing, which is super
Yeah,
easy. But I think for the Asian Airlines, it's you have to follow them on Instagram and you get this like spin the wheel type thing. And you they automatically just give you a raffle ticket to win a free round trip ticket to Korea. Who gives that away? Do you know how much that costs? They're very
yeah.
confident about that.
And they gave out one every single day.
Yes, 3 days, 3 round trip tickets to a lucky fan, and we did get to see them at the Kcon stage, which was really really cool. But we can get to that later on. Um, but yeah, I spent it, and then MC guy, he was like pumping everyone up. He's got the music going. He was like, "What do you hope to get?" And I was like, "Oh, I have to get this." And I spun it, and I got nothing. And he was like, "Hey, if you get back in line, you can spin it again." I was like, "Okay." He didn't care. He was just like, "I can get you, keep going," but I had to get these people in line too, so to get back in line.
Yeah. So of course, not everything can be free, guys. There were booths that you actually had to purchase things at,
Right,
but
right.
everything was super, super reasonably priced.
Oh yeah, definitely. Which we were very surprised about, honestly.
I was fully expecting upsells on stuff, but albums were like $25. Light sticks were $60. Photo
Mm-hmm.
cards ranged from $2 to $7, depending on like what kind they were. If they were Daikon, um,
Mm-hmm.
Weaver, stuff like that.
Yeah.
As previously mentioned, Anne and I fell into a really deep '80s rabbit hole. Uh,
Yeah.
real deep. That's going to be a whole different
Oh.
episode. But I was actually able to get a Stan Lucky Draw. I think it was for their last album for only $7.
Which is not bad, honestly.
No, not at all. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. Shout out to K-Pop Nation. If you're in LA, please go visit them.
Mm-hmm.
I know they have a website coming soon, but they were selling gently used light sticks for only $30 even, no taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually able to get it, again, falling down the '80s rabbit hole, a tiny light stick for only $30.
Yeah, which is pretty cool and also smart in selling their gently used light sticks, because otherwise maybe it's just sitting there collecting dust.
Yeah. And they even had a sign that said that it was guaranteed to work.
Mm-hmm.
They had all been tested. Now with
Mm-hmm.
mine, I was missing the battery chamber. which
Mhm.
I just ended up taking. I tested it with my SF9 light stick, and then I took the battery chamber out of my red velvet light stick when I got back to San Antonio because unfortunately it's falling apart and needs to be replaced.
Aw.
Which
Bummer.
was my first light stick, and Ann sold it to me for $20.
Ah, the good old days.
Um, but as we mentioned, there was also a lot of beauty and home booths that were super, super reasonably priced as well.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously I was looking for like a new lip tint type of thing, and there were plenty of booths that were selling it. There was like a good maybe 8 or so that
Mm-hmm.
all had makeup, that sort of thing. The thing to note though with these booths, the one that's in the K culture section of it, most of them only take cash. Now we do have emergency cash, just as any responsible adult probably would have. But we didn't realize that none of them would take, card or the
Right.
tap to pay, that sort of thing. So most of them are cash, but most of them are willing to cut deals with you, honestly. So I think the lip tint I got, I forgot the booth name, so sorry, but I mean it's really good lip tint. And they were so sweet. They were like trying all the different shades on my hand. They were comparing it. There was like 3 girls surrounding me. They were like, does it look good? Does this look good? Like bring it up to my face. It was so
It
cute.
was the matchmaking scene for Mulan, is what it was.
It really was. Like they were surrounding me. But yeah, so they were like, okay, well, for one, it was like, I think they were saying it was like $15, but if you get two, $25. I was like, well, that's pretty damn good because I'm pretty sure when I get lip tints, in store here, some of them could cost about $20 and they're not going to give me a deal. There's no
Yeah.
way.
The booth that I had that experience at, Ann knows that I love my instant Korean coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bartender. Have to get up early to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
I ride public transit too, so it's really easy for me just to throw a couple of those packets in my bag and head on my way.
Mm-hmm.
So Cafe Felice was the one that was there. Never heard of them. Maxim is my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
And they were selling cases, guys, cases of
Oh,
coffee.
yeah. Like the huge box.
For $10 to $12, depending on which one you got.
Mm-hmm.
They were selling individual little ones too. And I told the guy originally, "Oh, I'll just take 5." And again, he only took cash, which we didn't think ahead of time because again, we're millennials. We're always told to have cash on us just in case.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't think to get anything smaller than 20s.
Yeah.
So I went to go hand him a 20, and this poor guy pulls out all the change he has in him. He's like, "I'm really sorry, I don't have the change." I'm like, "No, it's okay." And he sold me both cases of the espresso and the regular one for $20 instead of the 22 that it would have cost me. And he let me keep the original 5 packets that I bought.
Yeah, which is crazy. And again, you don't really think about it when you get like a case of those sticks. You just think it's only a certain amount, right? But then when we got back to my aunt-in-law's house, he opened it and he went, "Oh crap, there's a lot."
There were 206 between both those cases, guys. And let me tell you, I walked down the stairs to Aunt Mary. I said, "I don't know if y'all like instant coffee, but please take some of these."
I mean, they're nurses and doctors. They should take it.
Yeah. I got my mom a tumbler from California, and I threw probably 20. When we're in Oakland, Ann and Carrie are looking over at me, and I'm shoving instant coffee packets into this thing, fighting with it, because it was just so many. I probably have enough to last me through at least the end of the year right now.
Yeah, it was a lot, but again, it was a great deal. But we felt so bad for the poor man. He was just like, "It's freebies."
Yeah, and again, to think about it with what you would normally pay here, if I was to visit Ann and go to H Mart or go to Austin and get a case of Maxim, I'm going to spend more on a little case of Maxim about this big than I spent on both of those giant cases.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. Last time when I went there with a friend and they were looking for those instant coffees, about a case of that holds 100 sticks was about $25.99, maybe
Yeah.
$28.99. And that's if it's not on sale. H Mart does well in having sales sometimes, but I think that's like the bottom line price, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a
So
great deal,
definitely,
honestly.
if pricing is a worry for you for this convention, don't let it be. I
I
think
don't think
at the
so.
end of the day, not including tickets and flights, of course, which we got those really cheap too because we planned so far in advance.
Yes.
I want to say I maybe only spent $200 that day.
Yeah, I felt like I probably spent around there, maybe a little bit more because again, I do have my kid with me and they want their own thing. And I want to spoil them as always. They're my only child. But yeah, I mean, even for the merch booth, I think they're mostly reasonably priced, honestly. If you were to compare it to going to an actual K-pop concert to whatever artist you're looking for, right? I guess we can compare it to Stray Kids because we both went to the merch table
Right.
together. A shirt for them was like what, 50, 60?
50 $60, and they're
Yeah.
like the Gideon brand, the ones that you get at
Mm. A
Hobby
little
Lobby.
scratchy, a
Yeah.
little. Yeah. Yeah. But this jersey, I mean, it was a pretty good quality and it
Oh,
cost us what? Like
I think the
50?
jerseys were 25, 35.
Something like that. Don't remember. Don't quote us on these prices. But I'm just saying the quality of this is so good. And for the price you're paying for, it makes it worth it. Whereas if you go to like Stray Kids, no shade, but their shirts were not that great.
Yeah, and like the slogan signs. This is the one I
Hmm.
got for Rawoon.
Nice. Woo, look at that.
This is 100% suede. This is not cardboard. This is not
Mm-mm.
paper. It's 100% suede. Like,
Oh God. don't smack yourself in the face, please.
like this is good quality. And I think my total at the end was 65. I got both of these, and I got the exclusive Rawoon photo card.
Yeah, so I definitely got this jersey. I got the slogan, the P1 Harmony slogan for my kid, as well as a concert t-shirt for them, the one that has all the artists lineup on the back of the shirt. I'm pretty sure I spent about like under 200, maybe like 150, 160, something
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, I mean, great prices all around. So pricing is not a big deal at all, honestly.
Yeah, if you can manage it and you can swing it, I definitely would say don't let that be what stops you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And if it does stop you, think about all the freebies you'll be getting too. Honestly,
Oh yeah.
everyone's just handing out everything.
I think we already mentioned it kind of a little bit at the beginning, but fan engagement was the main focus of this convention hall.
Yeah, because this is what KCON stands for, right? Connecting the artists to the fans. That's their biggest thing, right? So we mentioned before how there were two stages inside the actual convention area. I mean, even with these two stages, they were so far apart that they don't have things going on at the same time, I don't believe. But if there were, I don't think it impedes the other stage, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, fan engagement was great. They always were like, hey, this is coming up, this artist will be here or there. Whatever booths is sponsoring whatever artist, they will be there too for like meet and greets, like tiny little meet and greets or just fan interactions.
Yeah. And it was really cool, again, to give a shout out to Mnet to let us write those messages to your favorite artist or host.
Mm-hmm.
And they told us that at the end of the day, they would personally go and deliver these to each of the artists.
Which is so, so sweet. Again, you don't have to do that, but again, this is what KCON stands for. It's great.
Yeah. All right. So should we talk about the big kahuna, the whole reason that most people go to KCON?
Yeah, definitely. The whole concert, right? So
Yeah.
again, going back to prices, we bought the tickets for 150. And the thing that we noticed when we were buying the tickets is that they randomly select the seats for you. So I just chose the 150. I didn't think much of it at the time. I was just ready to check out and just be done with buying the tickets. So when I bought the tickets, they randomly select the seats. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. That's pretty close. And they're seated. So I clicked it and checked out. But then when I went back to the map of it, and honestly, it didn't hit me until we physically got into the crypto arena, was that how smack dab in the middle we were with our seats. We got
Oh,
so
yeah.
lucky. We were literally facing the stage, and it's a good midsection where if fans were standing up in front of us, it doesn't impede our view whatsoever.
We did get very lucky that we had the section where a sound booth was supposed to be. So the
Yes.
entire right in front of us, not a single person.
Oh yeah, no, it was so nice.
But it also didn't impede our view either. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, when we went and saw Mamamoo, we had amazing seats.
Oh yeah.
But the seat that I was at, because I let you guys go in a little bit further,
Mm-hmm.
it did cut off the stage just slightly. just a
Yeah,
little
because
bit.
we're off to the side. That's right. Because of
Yeah,
the, like the curtains or whatever, how they set up on the stage. I get that.
but
Mhm.
totally 100% not a problem.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, just seeing the. Can you imagine just being where? Because I know throughout this whole concert, the artists have it where they'll go to like that's quote unquote the front area of the stage, then they'll go to the quote unquote back of the stage. So they're hitting 2 points. But because the arena is all 4 sections, right, all around 360, they're not hitting like quote unquote the left and right side of it. So
Yeah.
people on the side will only see the side view of the idols. I mean, I think all the view all around is great too. I've seen all the fan cams; they're all wonderful. But we just happen to get lucky with being on the front side of it.
Oh yeah. A really cool thing that I like that they did is they have their lineup, which is the
Mm-hmm.
main focus of M Countdown.
Of course.
But they have what's called the pre-show,
Mm-hmm.
which is where they introduce lesser known artists.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. That was such a great experience. We actually got to see Alexa twice. She was performing on the Kcon stage,
Mm-hmm.
and I dragged Anne and the kiddo to go see that because, like I said, I've been kind of following into the
Mm-hmm.
Alexa fandom.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you who don't know, she's technically our neighbor because she's here. She's not from Texas, but she's from Oklahoma.
Oh yeah. I mean that's close enough, honestly.
Close enough, yeah. Texas is big enough. We could say it's close enough.
Oh yeah.
And she got to debut her new song on the Kcon stage,
Which was so cool.
and then we got introduced to a group called Diamond.
Oh yeah.
And the duality, because they came out originally and they started with their debut song, which is Burn Up. And it's very EDM, very punk, because if you see like their debut album is like the guy with the big red mohawk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they switched over to their song Boys Like Girls. And I remember, again, keep in mind, I'm a little delulu because I'm sick at the time. But I remember turning to Anne like this and going, holy crap.
Oh yeah.
What? Holy crap. Like that duality, which is something that you did not expect from a punk group coming out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when you never heard of this group whatsoever and you're hooked within like the first few seconds of the song. That's rare, honestly. Sometimes it takes, new groups a good hard listen to or multiple times, but I mean their stage presence was amazing. You could barely tell they just debuted.
And then another cool thing that Kcon did is they had a K-pop dance group from Berkeley perform after the groups, and they got to be on the stage, and that was really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. I believe they were in those like smaller stages. I was in the convention center.
Yeah.
And not many people are paying attention to it, as I've noticed, only because, they're too busy with the booths, they're going around. I think there was another artist meet and greet happening in one of the booths as well. People are not paying attention to it, but seeing them on stage on the KCON, the M Countdown stage, that's really cool. I'm pretty sure that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity for them as well.
Yeah, and like we said, like Kcon's whole thing is fan engagement, and it really shows when you invite a dance crew to come on and perform at the biggest K-pop gathering in the U.S.
Yeah, definitely. And also KCON does super great in introducing newer groups that you never heard of. So having like Diamond on there is amazing. It introduced us to that. And just any groups in general that would be quote unquote lesser names or newer groups, like for example, like Boy Next Door is still fairly new. I mean, that's really smart of them too.
Another really cool thing that we noticed when we were at the M Countdown is Mnet was big about history. And showing the video that performed right beforehand, it literally was like each year, and it would show a couple artists. So they showed clips of BTS, Stray Kids, SF9, and other groups. And then before Rawoon even hit the stage, Kcon does kind of like, what would you call it, Anne? Like a tribute to an older group?
Yeah, like just showing like who were, I guess, not old artists, but just like older groups that help pave the way in a sense, like help make Kcon to what they are right now. Because I mean, Kcon had to start somewhere, right? So they were just inviting groups that were, kind of big at the time, and just now it just grew up to this huge international worldwide thing.
Yeah, and the cool thing, again, tagging into history, is that each day one group was selected to perform a cover song of one of their mentors.
Yeah, there's some
And
bass. Yeah.
I know Zero Base One got to do Red Velvet Psycho. Kind of upset we
Mm.
didn't get to see that because we're both big Revelos. But
Mm-hmm.
and I will eat crow and say this: P1 Harmony, who I'm not a big fan of, and BTS, they covered BTS's Fire,
Oh
and
yeah.
holy hell, that was really good.
And I mean, that was literally the first stage.
Yeah,
How else are you gonna pump up like the whole crowd like that? It was so good.
yeah. And again, this is before Rawoon even hit the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have to admit, shout out to P1 Harmony because I've heard that that is not an easy song to cover,
It
and it
really
was
wasn't.
really, really good.
I think it's also because, BTS is known to have a lot of dance moves like choreography wise. They're constantly moving. And also you just have vocals left and right rapping. It's hard to keep up in terms of like you're moving and keeping your vocal control very, very steady. But I think it also fits P1 Harmony's color in a sense, they're able to fit into that genre very easily. So,
Right.
I mean, it was great.
Another thing that they did was they had covers midway through.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't 100%. I don't have the list in front of me, but I think it was supposed to be songs that were popular, but also didn't fit that group's genre.
Mm-hmm.
And pardon me, uh, Kelpler actually did Stray Kids Back Door,
Oh
which
yeah.
was amazing. And it had the cute little VCR beforehand where they were trying to audition their own members to see if they
Oh
could even
yeah.
do this song. Um, and I'm the first one to admit I'm not a big Kepler person. I'm not a big M countdown survival show group type of person.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We'll do a whole thing about my feelings towards Boys Planet on another episode. Um, but that was a really amazing cover because from the songs that we got to hear them perform, that did not fall into their wheelhouse whatsoever.
Oh no, it did not. And they did well in I guess rearranging that whole song to where it fits their range for vocals and everything. But even
Yeah.
then, you can definitely easily tell, oh yeah, that's Stray Kids Backdoor.
Now, I feel really bad that we have to mention this, and it's nothing against the group in general,
No, it's
but
not.
I, bless their hearts, they were hit with multiple technical difficulties.
Yeah, I felt really bad. We don't know anything about I, but again, we were open to, liking new groups, especially since, Diamond like blew it out of the water
Oh yeah,
easily. But the fact that we were so distracted by their technical difficulties, I felt so bad. I just kept looking over to TJ and I was like, I can't hear this poor guy trying his hardest to sing super loud, and there's nothing on the end of his mic.
yeah.
Nothing at all. I felt so bad.
During the performances, they would have screens that would have images and stuff that would go around. And at
Mhm.
one point, the screen froze, and then another time, like two video files merged together.
Yeah.
And it was really difficult because I remember telling Anne that I was a little noisy for me,
Yeah.
but now looking back on it, I think the problem was is that we were just getting really harsh instrumentals coming out, and
Mhm.
nothing was coming out of this poor kid's mouth. I feel really bad that I don't know his name. It didn't
Mhm.
help that he was the center of attention with his bright red hair, like redder than mine.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and he was belting, like, but nothing was filling that arena, unfortunately.
I know, it was so sad, but I mean, we would love to give I another try, but it honestly, the technical difficulty definitely distracted us from that whole thing, so,
Yeah. Maybe
yeah.
that'll be an episode we do later on. We'll do a blind watch for the both of us and give them another chance.
Yeah, definitely. But also, I guess the upside of it is Kcon announcing that Zero Base One was going to do like a special like guest performance for day one because I think they were quote unquote headlining for day three, I believe, and the chances of seeing them was really low too. So Kiddo got to see Zero Base One, which was really nice. And there was a cool thing that happened after Zero Base One's performance, though.
Yep, we got the announcement of their next survival show.
Yeah, and I mean, Mnet is huge with that. So I think that was kind of smart marketing in a sense. So
Yeah, because for our listeners who may not know, Kepler and Zero Base One were both formed from Mnet survival shows.
Mm-hmm.
And their big debut, once they were formed and they got their album out, was the KCON stage for both of them.
Yeah, and they pretty much are like, you know, the kitchen, the household name of it until, you know, they come up with the next group.
The kitchen name.
And the kitchen name, I meant household name. Come on.
So we should probably get to the elephant in the room, the biggest part, the part that literally was teased to us the entire time that we were there.
I know every artist was like, "Don't worry, Taemin's coming. Taemin's coming." I was like, "He better not back out. I will leave right now."
I will say that all the pre-difficulties, illness, and all that was 100% worth it just to see Taemin take that stage.
Yeah, and we did mention it before. It's only because what are the chances of SHINee doing a world tour? You would literally have better chance of just having solo Taemin touring, which he did announce right after. So, but yeah, seeing Taemin on stage, being a second gen K-pop fan is a huge deal, especially if you haven't seen SHINee and not being able to go into Korea in general and seeing them. It's a huge deal, and you can tell from how loud the audience was screaming. Everyone was waiting for this. Everyone wanted this. It was so nice.
Yeah, I remember Boys Next Door. I don't know the members' names. Again, a lot of these groups we didn't know going in.
Mhm.
They were teasing what was coming forward, and they would do it by giving like little clues to them. And when they did, when they were announcing Taemin, they did the guilty challenge. You know, the hand up the shirt, covering the mouth.
Oh yeah, all that stuff.
And the amount of noise that came from that audience was astounding. And he wasn't even on the stage yet.
Oh no. Yeah.
But when he finally did come on stage, let me tell you, you almost forgot about everyone else who came beforehand because everyone was so excited. Oh yeah. And I'm not like Anne. I actually recently got into SHINee. Probably, I think it was this year or last year. I remember saying, "Oh my god, this is a really good SHINee song," and Anne was like, "What is it? It better be a good one." And I was like, "It's Replay. It's Replay. I'm sorry." Yeah. She was okay. That one's okay.
Good. That's good. That's good.
And so that's, you know, a rabbit hole that I'm going down right now. And even knowing Taemin, like I didn't know him as an artist specifically. I knew of what people knew of Taemin. So I know that like he's a huge inspiration for a lot of idols.
Definitely.
And I know, and you know, the only other thing that I know is that he himself has basically come out and said that Hoshi of 17 is going to be the dancer to replace it.
Exactly.
But I was absolutely blown away by his performances. I only knew going in, I think I knew Guilty and Move. That might have been the only two songs I knew. And the Rizness, unfortunately. Thank God he did not perform the Rizness.
Oh yeah, no. I had to take the kid out of that real fast. Oh my gosh. But yeah, just even when they were introducing Taemin, well, not them specifically introducing Taemin, just the screens that says the word Taemin on there, you literally get chills, you know, lights dim down, all these things, and then he just comes up from the bottom of the stage up to the stage. I mean, the screams were so deafening. The whole like atmosphere of it changed. It was so insane. It's like life-changing almost. You could barely even believe this is happening.
Yeah. I actually was worried about the girl to the left of us because she was spazzing out, and good for her finally getting to see who she wanted. But I remember she was like spazzing, screaming, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is what's happening right now."
You're here for one person and one person only.
Yeah. Another really cool thing is that Kcon introduced what's called the Dream Stage. And Taemin was the artist that they did beforehand. And for those who don't know, the Dream Stage is where you submit a video of you doing the song that you're going to perform, and then you get selected for the preliminaries, come to Kcon, and then get selected to actually go on stage and perform with this person. For us, I think it was Move. I think that it was a Move or Advice. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go and check my videos.
But I don't remember either. But I mean, this is a huge opportunity for fans, literally. They could be dancing professionally, dancing for fun, and then to be selected, be like, hey, you get to be on stage with Taemin is life-changing,
It
right?
is. It really is. And
Mhm.
going back to the concept of fan interaction, Kcon
Mhm.
made sure that these Taymates stood out. They didn't
Oh,
wear
yeah.
black like Tayman and his dancers did.
Mm-mm.
They were in these bright red colors.
Mhm.
And looking up at the screens, the camera people knew their assignment.
Oh,
Showcase
yeah.
these people.
Mhm.
And it was really awe-inspiring. It was really cool. They even all got to do their own ending fairies at the end.
I know, I love that so much, and all the audience knew they got the job done. They were screaming for them super loud, and I'm sure, if their friends are also attending the concert, they were screaming the loudest. It was
Yeah.
so, so cool. I love the ending fairy.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was awe inspiring. It was amazing. And
Mhm.
as Anne knows, one thing that really gets me into certain artists and groups is getting to see a live performance.
Mhm.
So, for example, before going to see Red Velvet, I was not a big fan of their song "Power Up." I was like, ugh,
Yeah.
this is a little too poppy for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
which
a
I
little
totally
too.
get.
But seeing them perform it live, I was like, damn it. Okay, this is going on the playlist.
Yeah, and I
And
think also what built that too was just like the fanboys in the
oh
front.
yeah,
Do you remember?
oh yeah, it was great. But tying it back, I've started listening to Taman since we've gotten back.
Mhm.
Uh, and if you guys have not heard his newest album, Eternal, please give it a listen to. It is such an amazing album.
Mhm.
Also, mad respect for Taman doing his set and piecing out. Because at the
Yes.
end, Maroon comes back out, and then he brings all the idols out, and they all say
Yeah.
goodbye to everybody. They take their
Yeah.
selfies.
Mhm.
I noticed. I was like, wait, Taman's not on the stage. And as we're driving back, I'm on Instagram looking, and Taman literally is taking a selfie in his green rooms, and you can see his bags right behind him.
He's like, "I'm too old for this. I've done this before hundreds of times. Deuces."
It was great.
The difference between like having a second gen and the fourth gen.
but
Oh my
but
gosh.
kudos to him. I mean, poor kid debuted at 14, and he's still doing it. I probably would have done the same. Probably gone
I'd be
back to my
like
hotel room and taken a nap.
I'm too old for this. Y'all have fun, kiddos.
And to put it into perspective, Taman's younger than us, not by much, but still.
No. Yeah, I know. I mean, we're pretty much at that age where we're just tired. Like we even we didn't stay for the ending of that whole M countdown stage, when they bring all the outlets out there. We just want to leave early just to get out of traffic, honestly, because again, you're in downtown LA, it gets pretty bad. And driving from there to Huntington Beach took us about 30-ish minutes, and
Yeah,
we've been there all day. The heat kind of got to us a little bit. Again, TJ was feeling a little
yeah,
down at the time, so we just wanted to get out of there. But we did hear there was a lot of fan service at the end of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, we should probably go ahead and just give us our pros and cons, our final thoughts on everything.
Yeah.
Because if you watched our first episode, you know that we can just continue talking forever.
Yeah, let's try to hit the points.
So let's start with the positive. We should always start that way. One of the best
Mhm.
conventions that I personally have ever attended.
Yeah. Very well organized staff, super great. Yeah, and then the biggest pro, honestly, KCON as a whole, including M Countdown, is allowing fans to listen to or bring groups that maybe fans don't know about, introducing them to them, which is what KCON is great of doing. Seeing artists that they probably won't even get a chance to have a world tour type of thing, especially in the US, especially
Yeah,
with, this new visa law type thing. Y'all can definitely look that up. It's ridiculous. And that's the reason why ticket prices have gone up so high to kind of, balance that out.
right.
But I mean, I never got a chance to see BB because she's also under 88 Rising, I believe, which is an Asian company based in LA, and they have a music festival called Head in the Clouds. I would never see BB, so having BB there again, once in a lifetime opportunity. Same thing with Taman and all that stuff. So that's my biggest positive, I believe.
I think I'm in the same category. Getting to see so many artists that we normally wouldn't have even thought to listen to.
Right.
Alexa, you know that right after KCON, I kind of went through some personal things, and
Mhm.
I decided, you know what, I really like that song "Sick" and "Distraction" by Alexa. And
Mhm.
I remember messaging our mutual friend Roseanne, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of understanding the Taylor Swift thing because
Mhm.
Alexa kind of became my going through a hard time, uh, fu kind of artist.
Yeah.
And again, Diamond is on. I have a separate playlist that's mostly rock, like Dreamcatcher, BAP, Pink
Mhm.
Fantasy, and they've also joined that playlist as well. And I
Mhm.
wouldn't have ever given them a chance just by looking at what they debuted at.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then also biggest positives also the pricing. We really thought you would spend more because usually at anime conventions and comic cons that sort of thing, you get so many booths that you just kind of go crazy. You see your
Right.
favorite like anime character, merch, cutesy things and whatever. You tend to go overboard, which I don't blame whatsoever because I often do go overboard at and artist alleys, so but having the prices being so low, different the K culture, K beauty booths willing to cut you deals, I think kind of helps a lot too, and it also promotes the brand and company they're in.
Yeah. So let's talk about the negative. Unfortunately, we have
Oh,
to. It always
I know.
comes with hand in hand.
All right,
Uh,
so I guess the biggest con for me, honestly, is organization. How they
yeah.
were announcing things. That was a downfall for me being a type A planner.
No, I completely agree. Like it was cute at first when we got the these emojis are gonna be
Mhm.
who's performing, which we didn't get anyone right. Like how are you gonna have a rose emoji and the rose not be performing? The little map that they did at the museum was cute, but
Mhm.
the fact that we got tickets pricing and setups before we got lineups was definitely not a good thing for me.
Yeah, especially since we would plan months ahead type of deal. That's not our thing. A lot more people are more flexible, so which is good for them, but for us, we're not as flexible with the jobs we have, being a mom, that sort of thing. So,
And of course having to travel, because I remember that being a big complaint in the comments. So like some of us are having to travel to California. We need to know what's going on.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, but I guess this is a personal opinion, so I guess it's like a hot take type of thing. I didn't like how we were, or at least I was, constantly having to be on the phone to do certain things. So like the scavenger hunt type thing, honestly, we were very excited for that in the beginning. We gave up halfway for the stamp rally type thing.
I think we got one stamp.
Maybe two if we got lucky, but
Yeah, I think M Countdown did or Mnet did one.
yeah, so yeah, the stamp rally, we definitely give up halfway. I know they had this scavenger hunt where it was like if you find this item, you get like a signed album. Did not even do that because again, they didn't really announce it where it's placed everywhere during the convention. It was only in their Instagram story. It wasn't
Yeah,
even in the app. So not many I'm pretty sure people knew about it, but we didn't know about it until I was just literally like taking a break, just scrolling through Instagram, and then I saw the story of that. So I didn't like how attached you would have to be on your phone. I personally, I would love to just enjoy the moment, that sort of thing, rather than just staring at the screen going, what's happening now? What's happening now? That sort of thing.
yeah. So originally my con was that there was not enough Rawoon,
Mm-hmm.
which Anne has explained to me that that's how music shows work and everything, but I don't care. But for me, I kind of agree that having to app hop back and forth
Mm-hmm.
was a thing, and I think for me that the lack of signs anywhere was definitely
Oh
a thing for
yeah.
me because I
Mm-hmm.
remember us walking out because we wanted to go see Alexa perform on the KCON stage. There was not a single sign that told us where the KCON stage was.
Mm-hmm.
But again, shout out and thank you to the super knowledgeable and friendly staff. We literally
Mm-hmm.
walked up to this guy who was standing at the stairs. excuse me, we were sorry for bothering you. And he's like, oh, you're not bothering me. How can I help you? Oh, we
Hmm.
want to go see Alexa. Oh, sure. Just walk right past the food court, make a left. You'll be right there.
Yeah. It's like they memorized the whole map on in the back of their heads. Yeah.
If you guys are employed by the LA Convention Center or Crypto.com Arena, y'all deserve a raise.
Oh, yeah, you definitely do. Or if you're just hired as a temporary for Kcon, props to y'all for learning so fast.
If you're a volunteer, please tell me that you guys got to go to M Countdown and you got a whole bunch of freebies because y'all deserved it.
Maybe meet the artist, something?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the perk of it?
But I think at the end of the day, my views have changed now that I think we're 3 weeks out since we were there. Mm-hmm. I would go again. Mainly because I'd like to hit LA again and do all that once again. But depending on the lineup, if there's a convention only thing, that's probably what I would do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'd give Kcon another try. Granted, next time I think we can both agree on this. It may not be Kcon, it may be Waterbomb for us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, honestly, I have in-laws that live in LA. We're always welcome there. Even my aunt was like, hey, you can come back anytime. Anne doesn't even have to be there. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? What am I, chopped liver? But anyways, but for my personal opinion, I think I will go back to Kcon, but I think I would, if we were to do the M Countdown portion, it would definitely have to do with what the lineup would be, and hopefully Kcon themselves can be a little bit more organized, like they're doing for Kcon Germany, where they're announcing the lineup before ticket sales.
Right.
If they do it for next year, maybe we can consider it, or just the years after. But yeah, it just depends on the artist. Otherwise, hey, if you're selling just convention only tickets, we'll go back.
Oh yeah, totally.
We had more fun in the convention, honestly. But I mean, the M Countdown was definitely life-changing to where you can see multiple artists under one roof. Not many places do that, honestly. Next would be Waterbomb. I think that would be the next biggest thing.
Yeah, and we're not going to talk about Waterbomb because we have some opinions on it we're not too happy about. That'll be a different episode, but we see you, Waterbomb. We see you.
We're not bitter.
Not at all.
But yeah, this is our Kcon experience, the first experience of it, and we hope you like our ramblings, opinions, but we also like to hear about y'all's experience if you'll want to leave a comment about it. What did you like? What did you not like? That sort of thing, especially since we only attended day 1. We don't know what day 2 or 3 was like at all, so.
Right, exactly. If you want to share your experiences with getting to see Kim Soo-yeon or Park Min-young, please let us know because we're jealous we didn't get to see them.
Yeah, and then let us know about the other artists that performed the other day. I like to hear what y'all like Huron did. I want to know what Zico did, so. But yeah, so that's a wrap for another episode of Wonderful Beauty.
We hoped you enjoyed our Kcon ramblings as much as we enjoyed sharing them.
Yeah, and don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all the fun things, follow us.
And of course, keep streaming your favorite K-pop groups.
흥건해진 밤이 분위기를 봐 우리뿐인 party 걸리적거리는 윗도린 다리에 이 본능은 설레 나란 본능 살래 Let's get down with me 이거는 네거 맘대로만 봐 with it 난 흥이 좋지 실수들이 오늘 밤에서 평생 네 오지